Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing, friend? My name is Talia Joy. Welcome to my cozy corner. I hope you're hydrated. I hope you're rested, but however you're coming in today, you are welcome here. This is home, and I'm really excited today for this topic that we're talking about. We're diving into why feeling stuck is actually a sign you're on the right path, and why feeling stuck is actually a good thing. We are going to reframe a bunch of stuff today. You're not going to feel so alone. You're not going to feel so stuck by the end of this. I'm also going to give you exactly what to do, what life is calling you to do when you're feeling stuck. So I'm going to give you some tangible practices. And I'm also going to weave in a higher perspective on what is going on in these times when we are reaching our upper limit, when we're feeling stuck, when we can't seem to move forward. I'm going to share some insight on what's going on a soul level, on a transformation level, so that you truly know how to move through this time. One of the reasons why I am happy to bring this episode to you today is, first of all, everybody feels stuck at some point or another. And at any one time, there's usually maybe an area or two or three or four of life where you feel like you're doing really well and things are going well. But then there's usually two or three or four or five areas of life where you feel stuck, where you don't know what your next step is. And it's totally normal. So I'm happy to bring this to you today so that you don't feel like you're doing something wrong. I'm going to share a little bit of a personal story on something I've recently uncovered about a belief that was keeping me stuck. So we're going to talk about, instead of it being that I feel stuck, I'm wrong, I'm not doing the right thing, what's wrong with me? Why can't I figure it out? We're going to just reframe all of this so that you can powerfully move forward. And if you are going through a time when you're feeling stuck, when you have goals around abundance, relationships, success, health, and you just don't know what your next step is, I highly recommend joining Momentum Tribe. We're going from November into January to gain momentum on your goals in a way that feels nourishing and supportive to you, with mentorship, tools, resources, and always the opportunity to get personal support and ask questions so that you truly can move forward. So you can check the show notes below if you're interested in gaining momentum as we go into 2025, because the seeds you plant now are what you sow in 2025, in the next few months, right? It starts now. So check that out. We start soon. The link is in the show notes. So I don't really have much else to say in the intro. I'm just excited to be here. So let's dive in. Grab your coffee, grab your peppermint tea, grab your ACV water, and let's do this. Hey, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Awakening Her podcast. I am so grateful that you've been led here, and I'm so excited for you that you're answering the call to manifest more magic in your life. My name is Talia Joy, and I am committed to showing you exactly how to manifest more excitement, ease, success, abundance, confidence, love, and anything else you've been craving. So if you're ready to go on a magical journey of spiritual and self-growth to manifest the life you're meant for, we are now besties. Let's dive in. Okay, so where I want to start is I very first off the top want to just share how feeling stuck is not a dead end, and it's nothing to do with if you're going to be able to do it or not. It has nothing to do with if you are growing, transforming, manifesting. And I know that that goes against so much of what our brains say, especially if you're in the self-development space and you're on Instagram and you're reading books and you're, in this world of self-growth and personal development. And this is a huge belief I'm sharing already, right up. I'm not going to hold anything back. I just uncovered a huge belief that you may have, that deep, deep, deep down, I was still carrying this belief of either I'm doing it right or I'm doing it wrong. And I've been through a long path of self-development, things like the term all or nothing thinking black and white. I remember that coming to me in my eating disorder when I was going to eating disorder counseling, and she was talking about all or nothing mentality, where it's all in or it's nothing. And that was my life with diets and eating disorders and all this stuff. And I also noticed it was addiction, it was compulsion. It was like I was either on the train or way the fuck off the train. And over the last literally 2 decades, I've healed a lot of that. But even now, in areas, and I'm going to share some stories in this episode, but in areas where I personally feel stuck, I realized a very sneaky background belief that is either you're doing it right or you're doing it wrong. And this is, for myself, say it's in business or in my pain healing journey. And if I must be, basically what it was is like, I must be doing it wrong, because if I was doing it right, it would be healed by now. It would be transformed by now. That age-old perception that growth and especially manifestation and quantum leaping, if you were doing it right, you'd be there by now, which defaults us into I must be doing it wrong. And this, you guys, is sneaky. And I feel like maybe even all of my clients, have dealt with this. It can be really sneaky when we are in that self-growth, always wanting to get better, our own personal best type energy. That's amazing that I would never want to be in a different space. However, we have to reframe that stuck or unclear, like what even is that, right? If you've been around my community for a while, you've definitely heard me say roadblocks are detours in the right direction. And again, even me, I don't mean that in any kind of righteous way. I mean more like I've been saying this stuff. I've been in this world for so long, yet when I really, really look at the nitty-gritty, I feel like, well, if I would have tapped into the answer, then I would be out of pain by now, or I would be at this type of level in my business by now. And I am going to share, as I said throughout this episode, a little bit, because you guys, times have been weird. And this is a business, this is a podcast that I'm here to help you. I'm not here just to air out all my stuff all the time. But the last few months, I have been going through it, and there have been lots of areas that I am at my personal stuck, where I have lack of clarity, where I'm actually feeling anxious, and that's not something I normally feel. I can do overwhelm pretty easily, but I don't often have anxiety, and I've been really going through it. So when I share this stuff, I'm not just saying that, I used to deal with that 10 years ago. I was panicky yesterday. And there are areas that right now I feel stuck in, or that I'm in my upper limit. So as I share this stuff, just know these are the real practices that I've practiced for decades, but it continues to deepen. And we have to continue to realize and sort of embrace that when we feel stuck, we can't start shaming ourselves. We can't start assuming that we're not going to do it, we're not doing good enough. If you're like me, instantly it becomes about I must not be doing it well. And not to make this too much about me, but I think some of you can really deeply relate. For me, I don't compare myself to other people necessarily, and I know a lot of people do. A lot of clients I've had do. Comparison is really, really common. I don't compare myself to others as much as they're hitting their business goals or they've healed their chronic pain or whatever. I compare myself to my personal best, to my highest self, because I am a channel, a seeker, a deep thinker, a deep soul. I'm a reflector, a human design reflector. So I have a certain perspective of life where I get it. I get the energies. I see them. I feel them. And I know of my full potential. I know what I'm here for. And it's huge transformation. But I'm also Talia, who has been through a lot of stuff. And so when I go on my journey of health, of, pain healing, income, success, realizing all my goals, fulfilling my goals and my passions and my visions, I also get into constant upper limits. There's always things that I'm busting through, and that's not glamorous. Busting through literally means that I felt really stuck. I've had some sort of breakdown that led to a breakthrough, and I chose myself. I chose to keep healing. I chose to keep growing even when I feel like and I felt like I'm at a dead end. So I first want to say that roadblocks are detours in the right direction. Feeling stuck means nothing about where you're going. In fact, spiritually, energetically, Spirit shows me, my channel shows me that actually means that we're going for something. And I want you to really think about that, right? So if you're saying to me, I feel really stuck in my health, that literally means that you're desiring something more for yourself, and that you're someone who is really passionate and committed and can see that vision or feel it or have a really strong desire and you want it so bad. That's why you would say you feel stuck. Or you say you feel unclear, or I have no idea what my next step is. If you were complacent and okay to settle for discomfort, mediocrity within yourself. If you wanted to settle, you wouldn't be struggling with it. Like, I want you to really own that even the feeling of being like, oh, I feel stuck with this means you're yearning for something different. So it's really just a signal that you're a driven seeker. You want the best for yourself. And like me, I know that I have my higher timeline. I know what that looks like, what that feels like, the freedom, the authenticity, the inner peace, the intuition, the feeling in purpose and in line and empowered. That's what I see in my mind's eye for myself in all areas of life. And that's what I tend to compare myself to and go, well, if I had the answers or if I was on the right path, I'd be there by now. So I want to say that this isn't a belief I've ever consciously thought. I have never said to somebody or to a mentor, like, if I, I'm clearly on the wrong path. In fact, I don't even say that consciously. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling my community on the path that it's about staying on the path. These are things I consciously know. But at the end of the day, when I go like, why can't I move forward with this? I realize that deep down, I'm kind of shaming myself low key, going like, come on, figure it out. Like, come on, get your shit together, do it, figure it out, have the breakthrough. I know what my potential is. I know what I'm capable of. I know that I can have this. I know that I can create this. What's wrong with me? So again, I'm sharing in authenticity so that some of you can see that in yourself and know that this is a sneaky sabotage technique that our subconscious mind does. But that's why we're reframing this today. So moving into sort of the lighter side of this, feeling stuck actually is a signal that you're in the middle of growth. Stuck moments happen. They're about hitting a barrier before a breakthrough. Every single company, every single celebrity, every single millionaire, every single inventor or entrepreneur or anyone who has ever accomplished anything, anyone who has had any kind of success that you would say is success, monetary, publicity, making an impact in the world, whatever, every single person had stuck moments. Just dive into the story of Bill Gates or Oprah or Jim Carrey or this or that or entrepreneurs you see, like truly. There's nobody that didn't have plateaus, that didn't have an upper limit. So if you're not aware of the upper limit, it's from a book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. It's a really great book. It's really, really fascinating how we create these upper limits. And it's like a thermostat. We allow ourselves to feel so good or be so productive or, give ourselves this much love or be this consistent. And then we hit our upper limit. And if you are like me and can have a default into all or nothing thinking, we hit our upper limit and we go F it. And we go the other way. We numb, we freeze, we shut down, we might eat, we might drink, whatever it is, no judgment. This is the upper limit. And we get there and we kind of go like, F, I can't do this, right? That's just your upper limit. And it's almost like a wall that once you break through it, you break up, you bust up into a new level, almost like a video game. It's like you're at the end of one level and you just need to bust up into the next. So feeling stuck is also readiness for your next level. If you are saying, I feel stuck here, or I don't know what my next step is, that is actually a readiness. And to quote Ananis Nin, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more than the risk it took to blossom. And that's our upper limit. And the day comes when we decide that the risk to stay here is more than the risk to bust up into that next level. And then we frickin' go for it. And again, at the end of this episode, I'm going to take you into some very tangible things you can do to exactly do that. But I just want you first to feel that it's just an upper limit. It feels squeezy. It feels unclear. It feels foggy because you're busting into it. And as I said in the intro, if you feel like you're at this point, Momentum Tribe is exactly for you because we've all got different goals going on. It's about moving forward in a way that moves you through those upper limits, supported with tools and a community. So if you are feeling all of this, I do highly recommend Momentum Tribe. It's going to be so good. Okay, so I'm going to tell a really quick story about as I was healing my health and body image. When I struggled with my weight and my body image and, feeling like I wanted to be in my healthiest body, but just always feeling stuck. So at first I was in an eating disorder, but even as I transitioned after that, I felt powerless. I felt like my body doesn't release weight. I can't stick to things. It was always this I got to figure out how to eat. I got to figure out how to exercise. Again, out there, what is the right thing to do? And at one point, I realized that always trying to seek an external answer never got me the true growth, the emotional healing, and the inner confidence that I was seeking. And that's the thing, is when we are looking out there, we will often start to get stuck, because no Mediterranean diet, no 3-2-1 walking plan is going to save you. We can use these things as support. I love to fast, I love to cleanse, but nothing is here to fix me or to save me from my, body insecurity. That's out there. Whereas all of my journey with my body was calling me in here, if that makes sense. So external fixes, I started to realize, were only ever getting me so far, and I always felt stuck. Like if you've ever tried to diet, it's hell, because you do it for 4 or 7 days, and then it's kind of like, well, what next? And I can't stick to this, but I wanted a burger, and it's just this. I always felt stuck, but I was looking out there, and I realized that always looking out there to fix my weight, my health, whatever, was I'm not going to say flawed, but it's a non-supportive way to think. Because first of all, I'm telling myself I need to be fixed, and that, again, something's wrong. And then I'm trying to fix it with something out there, but I'm not out there, I'm in here. So I started to recognize the need for deeper healing and deeper work, which now in the present time with my body image and my health, doing that deeper inner work and recognizing what was actually causing me to eat when I was emotional, but I didn't actually want to eat, or not work out because I just was and I'd sabotage it. I realized what that was. And it was coming from inner child and inner teenager wounding and narratives. And as I learned how to work with myself, and it came from inside, now I can commit to myself, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not even looking to be perfect, because it's not all or nothing. But I do yoga most days. I do my workouts. I'm stretching. I'm looking after my body, and I don't have the resistance that I used to have. I also now, as far as weight, feel very comfortable in my body. And if I feel the need to shift it, like I've had 3 babies, and if I want to get into my healthiest frame and release weight after a baby, it's all from inside. It's in here. And when I get my mind right, and this is kind of just spoiler, I didn't even plan to go into this, but when I get my mind in the game, I can literally eat anything and my body gets healthier and healthier. I feel like I'm aging backwards in my health, my body health, because I got the inside landscape taken care of. So I also had a client, just really quick, that was building a business, and she kept being stuck at a financial glass ceiling. She felt like she just was I'm launching new things, I'm working hard, I've hired new people, I've put out new marketing, but it kept looping back. And sometimes she'd have a little bit of extra, but then there'd be a refund, and it just always was hovering around, as Gay Hendricks would say, the upper limit, the thermostat. And we realized in our work together that she had underlying fears around money, but also around having money and what that meant. And more money, it's kind of like more money, more problems. That really was deeply seated, because she had employees and she had taxes, and she had a history with an accountant that kind of screwed her over one year. And so in her mind, she had fears around more money and how to manage it. And it was almost like more money was associated with bad things in her mind. But consciously, she's like, of course I want to make more money and, grow my company. So working through money stories, working through these points of what are those fears in there, becoming aware and illuminating them. By working through those, it allowed, first of all, just random people, because the way energy works, random people are signing up with her and, buying from her and all of that. But then she also thought of really great ideas that really hit her market well and really sold well. But it was because she was in energetic alignment with wealth. So again, when we feel stuck, it's about an internal thing that is going on. It means we're at our upper limit, and it means that we need to go beyond traditional flaky advice. So just try harder, just do more, stay positive, good vibes only, oh, you got this, girl. That's not going to get you through this place. Feeling stuck, feeling at a plateau is not just random, and it doesn't just randomly go away. It's a growth edge. And it's calling you into more. So even if your goal seems very tangible, like my client with her business, she just wanted to up her income. It seems so straightforward. We just need a plan, right? A strategy. but really it was something going on inside her. So instead of just pushing harder or feeling like you haven't found the right thing yet, it requires going deeper. It requires going within. And it doesn't always require like going back to all your traumas and going back to this. I actually truly believe, after all my being put through the washing machine of healing work I've done, I really do believe that we don't even have to do that, because life is happening right now. And we just have to become aware of the core narratives, the part of you that's reacting. What are you scared of? What is going on here? Like really looking at your situation to see the remedy to the looping patterns. It is right there. And as a mentor and as a human design reflector with my clients, I can see that stuff, because just like myself, when I'm in it, it's hard for me to see it. I often need either a reflection from another human or my channel to share with me, or something I pull in cards, something I realize, because other than that, I'm the fish in the water having a hard time seeing the water. And that's kind of like all of us, right? So just push harder, just refine your strategy, stay positive. If it meant enough to you, you do it. Those are all shitty pieces of advice for right now. I want to say again, if this resonates with you and you're really in the place for real transformative support beyond that flaky advice, again, Momentum Tribe is for you. I won't keep mentioning it. It just is so like what a lot of my community are going through right now, which is why I created it. It's accountability. It's tools and light structure so that you can move forward in your own way. Okay, so I'm going to move into the tangible advice, but just please remember that stuck moments do not mean failure. They are invitations to grow. They do not mean anything about your future. And that's something I've told myself a million times. Just because I feel stuck here, it means nothing about my future. That's something we often couple together in our mind. I'm feeling stuck, and finish that sentence. It would be like, and I'm never going to do it. Or what if it's too late for me? What if I can't? I don't think I can. I don't know if I'm the type of person that can show up like that. That's what comes up. And we kind of assume that we might not be able to do it, but I just want to say you are made for this. You are made for a life of self-growth, of transformation, and creating a life that you desire. And it just comes down to, there are blind spots, there's points inside that you cannot see that need to be either healed, integrated, illuminated, really just seen and folded in, integrated into your life. And it makes all the difference because your energy changes, which then opens you up. So what you can physically, tangibly do when you feel stuck, I want you to consider writing this down, because this isn't just advice that you just hear and then that's what changes your life. It changes your life when you actually do it, right? So explore this. What is coming up right now? So think of that one area of life where you're stuck, and there may be a few, but just pick one right now. Say it's money, business, health, maybe it's a tangible goal. Think about that area and ask yourself very honestly, we're not complaining, but we're saying, what's actually coming up right now? What are the thoughts? What are the narratives? What are the looping patterns that I'm seeing? So really looking at the stories without judgment. And for example, say it's your health, and maybe the story is like, I've tried everything, nothing works, or I can't commit to myself, or I don't know what to do. Or money story, right? Money is hard. Money goes as fast as it comes. I don't know how, nothing ever works. Just starting to think of the actual, not trying to do some deep, channeled, God-like, source-like, quote-like wisdom. No, what is actually going on? And when I was in my body journey, and this is not necessarily trigger warning, but it's just a little bit harsh, but I would think to myself, like, I effing hate my body, or I feel disgusting in my skin. That was a rooted thought, belief, narrative. And it came from me when I was first bullied. That feeling of feeling disgusting was a deeply rooted one. And so I started realizing that, and that was where the point was, the crack is where the light gets in, that I started to unfurl and love myself and integrate more love and tender healing energy. And it started to break up that belief. And now I would never say that I feel disgusting. That's just not something, but it took like a while to move through because I didn't quite know what it was. On the outside, I was going like, I can't release weight. No diet works. I do a diet for a few days and then I just like fall off the wagon, right? But under all of that was, I feel gross. I don't love myself. I'm not worth it. I'm not lovable, that type of thing. So again, it feels deep, it feels heavy, but because you're in this self-growth space, once we just see the narrative, we can immediately start to apply the healing work to it. And it actually dissolves a lot faster than you think. And we don't need to talk about all the traumas for years. We don't need to dive into that and forgive everybody and all this stuff. I mean, you can, of course, but when we look at, like, we're stuck in one area, we recognize the pattern by looking at the thought, looking at the narrative that comes up over and over again. So the next thing you can do, so that first thing is look at what is actually coming up right now in your thoughts. So the second thing is checking for power leaks. And if you've worked with me as a client, you know what I'm talking about. I always talk about power leaks. So identifying what is draining you emotionally, physically, spiritually, and it could be mentally as well. So noticing in your day where your power's leaked. Is it about boundaries? Is it about when you're on social media, you start feeling like you're comparing yourself? Is it being too overcommitted? Is it negative self-talk? Is it a dynamic or a relationship that is like leaking all your power? It's important to look at that. And the reason why is because we are a whole being with a certain amount of vital life force. And as we go around our day, really, like when I was in my eating disorder and I was always hard on myself in my mind, that was very draining. When I'm in my business going, nothing I'm doing is working, or I don't know what to do, that's draining. So sometimes I need to identify what is draining my energy, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, and really starting to shift that. I noticed social media doesn't make me feel great most of the time. So I almost never scroll anymore because I go on for business. I check in with the community. I connect with you guys and I go because it doesn't make me feel very good. Being overcommitted, being too busy doesn't make me feel good. It leaks my power. So I start calling it back. I start simplifying. So just checking for power leaks in your life, because when we're feeling stuck, we also have power leaks. We just get overwhelmed and depleted, and it's really hard to get into a creative space, a space where you're clearly, hearing your intuition. We just tend to get more and more depleted. And then the next thing I want to say is about taking small actions. And this is just because action creates confidence, action creates clarity. So when I'm feeling like I really want to be healthier in my body, and I know that going for short walks really feels good, like just small actions, right? It doesn't even have to be like every day and all this schedule, just taking a walk. And I go out on the walk. As I'm on the walk, confidence starts filling my body as the fresh air hits my lungs, as I feel my core engage, as I walk a little bit taller. And from that place, I go, oh, it would be cool. Like, oh, that cabbage salad I used to have. I love that cabbage salad. Yeah, let's do that. Or I get this idea of like, isn't there a new yoga studio? Yeah, I could do that. Or, hey, this friend I know even online is on a health journey. I'm going to reach out to her. These types of things come to you when you're taking action. So even small things, action creates confidence, action creates clarity. We don't get clarity sitting at home doing nothing. We don't get confidence sitting at home doing nothing. But remember that action can be anything from meditating to self-care to going for a walk to, reaching out about your business to clients. Like it can be an action that feels very adulty or it can be an action that's like, I'm having a bath because my body wants that and I'm going to just soak with Epsom salts. From that state, you're in a better place to receive your next level instead of just continuing to try to push with those external things. So the other part of when you're feeling stuck that I feel is really important, and I also resist it myself, is staying accountable. This can look like a lot of things, but community having your back, a bestie knowing what you're doing, notifications in your phone, even if it's an app that like sometimes there's fitness apps where you do like a 10-day thing and it helps you to go like, yeah, I don't know about you. If you're an empath, you might relate to this, but the vibe of like confidence that swells when we like make progress, that continues the momentum going. It's that fuel, it's that quick win, it's that dopamine hit of seeing ourselves move forward. So finding accountability in some sort of space. This is why I created also On the Path, because it is all about the broken down tools, the staying on the path, the staying accountable. Momentum Tribe is huge for accountability and community, but really what it comes down to is if you stay on the path, there is no other option but for you to succeed. And staying on the path doesn't mean a full cup every day. Some days our cup is empty. Some days we're more hangry, we're up, we're down. But staying on. They say that the only determining factor of success is not stopping, not just hustling, but staying accountable to yourself, writing it down, putting sticky notes, putting notifications, finding a community, finding people to do this with, spiritual running buddies, self-growth running buddies. This is so powerful. And accountability isn't just me, ticking my watch, tapping my watch saying like, did you do the thing? Like, why didn't you do the thing? It's not about that. It's about growing and staying on and having good days and bad days and tools to build resilience. So staying accountable is not shame. It's not constricted, which is where my energy goes because I'm like freedom seeker over here. I'm like, I don't want to be accountable to anyone. But what I realize is when there's people rooting me on, my husband, my bestie, a community, when I truly get, even when people send me messages and go like, I'm rooting you on, that fills me up because I tend to always feel like a lone wolf. That's a whole other episode on its own. But when I actually get accountability, support, community, that's when I find that there's this fire because we're sharing stories and I've got people rooting me on even when I'm not doing it, right? So whether you find accountability on your own in some way or it's through a community, it helps to keep you on the path because you won't be stuck if you keep going. A breakdown happens right before a breakthrough. A plateau happens before a breakthrough. So if nothing else, tell yourself, this plateau is happening because the next step is a breakthrough. And what you can start to do when you feel stuck is number one, really look like a mirror. Again, I'm a reflector, so this is like something that I do with clients. Look like a mirror at your life and ask yourself, what is coming up right now? What thoughts, what narratives, what looping patterns, and recognizing those patterns without judgment, recognizing the stories of like, I'm scared if I make more money, that means more taxes, or I don't feel like I can follow through on my health journey for myself. I don't know if I can trust myself. Those are not wrong and bad things. Those are huge opportunities for growth. Our upper limit, our growth edge is the opportunity to bust up there. We don't just bust up by accident. Like, whoa, whoops, I now made $1 million. We intentionally keep climbing the ladder. That is resilience. That is looking at yourself as not wrong and bad, but actually a seeker on a massively big path. So you're going to have stuff. Also, do a quick inventory for power leaks in your life. Where are you feeling drained emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally? And do you need to like put down the phone? Do you need to, less commitment, have less commitment? Do you need to, ease up on yourself in your mind? Really noticing these power leaks and directing your power toward energy that matters, taking small actions, going for a walk. Just explore. Taking action can be meditating or self-care, as I said, just doing something because action creates confidence. Action creates clarity. Action shifts your energy. From there, even if you take a quote unquote wrong move, which isn't really a thing, you'll get redirected. So if I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something for my body, I'm going to try jogging again. And then I notice it hurts. I'm like, okay, maybe not jogging today, but maybe a walk. And like, you'll constantly just be back on the path of being redirected, of being guided, the breadcrumbs. And then all of a sudden you hit a breakthrough and you're in that next level. The last part is staying accountable to yourself, to an app, to humans, to your bestie, to your mom, sharing with somebody that can hold that sacred space. Having a type of support and accountability is game changing. They've studied this so much in psychology about the power of community, but also accountability. So closing thoughts, stuck doesn't mean that you're on the wrong path. Stuck does not mean that you're doing something wrong. It's a signal of being on the verge of something meaningful, something huge, something new. Use stuck moments to go deeper, to clear, to integrate, to heal what no longer serves, to illuminate what is there. so that you can see the detour. You can see where life is guiding you to go. And if you want support with this, join Momentum Tribe, or you can also inquire about my one-on-one work that I have a few spots for right now for one-on-one mentorship. I'm rooting you on. The fact that you have such a big life of transformation and alchemy and evolution like the butterfly literally means you're going to have growth edges. So learning yourself, learning how to move through, using your tools, staying accountable to yourself and maybe others, it's going to change the game. Okay, rooting you on. I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Awakening Her podcast, your go-to for real life manifestation. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening from. Reviews really help the show. You can also find me after the show on Instagram at Talia Joy Manifestation. And listen, love, I know that you are ready to stop spinning your wheels and hustling and doing a bunch of stuff, and you're ready to make the money you want to make, to feel the way you want to feel. And if this is the case for you, then you are absolutely in the right place. I'm so excited. And if you're ready to jump into the implementation, you can check out On the Path. The link is below. Remember, all manifestation starts on the inside. I'll see you in the next episode.